Boom! What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Odin Chronicles episode number 17. Alright, so we'll give a little quick update here. So I finished Weather App recently, and I'm excited to show you guys that. Felt really good to get this one done. This was honestly one of the first projects that was really not too bad going through it and completing it. It was pretty straightforward, just using APIs and asynchronous code that we want to fetch some weather data from an API, from the internet, and display it on our web page here. It's worth noting that for this project, I mean, the specs and the requirements are pretty wide open. So if you look at the solutions and different people's weather app projects, you might see a lot of differences. You might see this or that. So it's kind of wide open. You kind of put as much effort into it as you want. Some people put an hourly forecast, a week forecast, what have you. I just put a 3-day forecast on the current weather, and you can append different weather things in there, like the wind speed or the humidity levels, the wind direction. You can be kind of creative with it. So this is what I got here. This is what it looks like when you don't enter anything in, but we will enter some data in there. Philadelphia area. Okay. And we press search, boom, you get the weather data for Philadelphia. You get the location, conditions, temperature, wind speed, humidity, blah, blah, blah. And you get the 3-day forecast with your dates up there and a little weather icon that goes along with it. So nothing too crazy there. Also, you can flip between Celsius and Fahrenheit, as you notice there. That will change to Celsius, and also down here too, when it says the high today is and low today is on the forecast, if you look at there, it will change to Celsius. And you can also enter different locations. We can go to New York. We can stick on the East Coast. And boom, we got some mist today for New York. And some, oh gosh, look at something else there. Some humidity there. Boom, we got some wind speed of 14.5 mphs. There we go. We can also enter one more location, Paris. There we go. We get that weather data there. And we'll enter one more for good measure. We'll enter China. Let's see what's going on with China. Okay. Boom, sunny conditions, 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity 65%, and no chance of rain for the next few days. So blah, blah, blah. Enough of me rambling there. With this, I'll kind of show you the weather data you get back, or a little bit of the code here. So if you look at this asynchronous function here, fetch data, the input, that variable there, is going to be whatever we enter into here, blah, 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 blah. Whatever we enter into there, that will be our input. It's going to be saved to a city data variable. And you notice when our API call, after this equal sign here, we're going to plug that city data and city data variable in there, so we can get any kind of weather data from any different city. And it is an asynchronous function, and we do have in our wait keyword set up in front of the fetch function that, hey, it may take time. So if you got some other code that does some things in your program, hey, run that code first, and then we'll come back to this when it's fetched this data and it's ready to go. So, excuse me. So then once we get that data, we got to turn it into JSON so the computer can read it. And then we pass that current weather data that has the JSON in there. We pass it to our functions, which display it. To our current weather, we have our forecast day 1, day 2, and so forth and so on. Last thing I'll do with this project here is I do want to practice a little responsive design on it, kind of like what I did with to-do list, just to kind of mess around with it, spend 15, 20 minutes a day, just kind of messing around with it, getting more comfortable with media queries and responsive design and shifting things. I know it's covered later in the curriculum, but something I really want to get more practice with. This was also the first project that I entirely used with Sass. Sass is just a more efficient way to write your CSS. It's basically CSS on steroids. There's a lot of cool features, you can use with it, such as variables up here. I know CSS has its own kind of custom properties or variables, whatever you want to call them, but Sass is honestly fun to use once you get the hang of it. So you can use variables up here that you can plug in throughout your program, things like that. You can use what's called partials and imports. That you can create a Sass file specifically for your variables. Like I can plug all these variables in here and then import it into another Sass file and then use them throughout the rest of the program. So it's almost kind of like JavaScript modules in a way, and importing, exporting files and modules, very similar to that. We also have mixins here, which are just basically functions. So I can write a mixin here. I can give it a name. I can write all these different styles in here. And then whatever element I want to use it on, header container styles, I can come down here, say I want to use in that header container, pointing out this big old thing here, this weather app thingy. And I can just say include, the styles there from above. So that's a really cool feature there. But probably one of my favorite features of Sass is the nesting. So, for example, in the search bar elements container, this little thingy right here, I don't know if you can see me circling that, but that's search bar and that little box there. We have an input, we have a button. So instead of writing the search bar elements container input and the search bar elements container button, we can nest them together. We just write the search bar elements container, put the tags up, put the styles just for that there. But since that input and button is within that element there, we can just write them right inside there without having to write them separately. So that's a really cool feature as well. Very convenient. I think it just makes it easier to read, honestly. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna get more practicing with Sass, but it felt good to use Sass in this project and for the full project too. So getting the hang of Sass. I'm gonna keep practicing with it. Same with the responsive design. And I did want to show the weather object that you get back. So whatever data you type in, we'll just do Paris again. And if we go to our developer tools and we go to the console, you notice that we're gonna get an object back. Let me just go right to the top. I got a lot of console logs in there. Forgive me. So boom, let's see. Oh, looks like this is our first object, our Philadelphia object, which we'll take that anyway, because Philadelphia is a lot cooler than France, right? So as you can see, we have different data that we get back here. We have the current weather that we can key into, like we can do current dot humidity, and we'll get that value back there. We can do current dot temperature, Fahrenheit, Celsius, and what have you. These are all different values that we can choose from. So that's current there. We can also key into the forecast, the 5-day forecast, and get the different days and the different weather that it has, and the location as well, the name, the region, time zone, all that good stuff. So that's kind of the data you get back from an API. That is an API request right there, and that is the data you get back. So boom, that takes care of that. And a little sass on that project. So yeah, feeling good with that one. So moving on, enough of me rambling there. We have recursion is the next topic we are working on. And recursion it's been tough. It's a tough concept to get a hold of. They link to a lot of good resources. Oop, actually we're on the project right now. That will be coming up. But for the recursion section, it gives you a lot of cool materials to study from, including one of my favorite YouTube channels, Web Dev Simplified. Kyle, he is the man. And
there's nothing more powerful than you making you.
I already got this up here. But as you can see, got the video pulled up right there. Kyle's channel is great, Web Dev Simplified, a lot of great videos on there. Watching his videos twice already, probably even a couple more times to get the hang of it. It's been worth it. He has a great channel and great content, videos on all different types of programming topics, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So again, check out his channel. So what else we got there? And then we just have these little coding exercises here. These are recursion practice problems. I got a few of them done today. I was kind of really taking my time going through them, really trying to brainstorm, get the juices flowing. But I got stuck on some of these. These are really, really tough. These are really, really tough. But I got the question number 4. My goal is tomorrow is to finish all of them and just move on. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just working through these, trying to make sure I understand them before moving on. That's really about it, guys. Give another update here soon, going through recursion, and hopefully be on the project at that point. Fingers crossed, because this recursion stuff is tricky. But whatever it takes to get it done, and that's about it, guys. Until next time, peace. Bam, boom. That outro was bad.